The order paper says you have 30 minutes, but that includes for, it's quite a bulky.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members. I beg to lay the minutes of the Committee on Physical Infrastructure. I beg to lay the report on the report of the Sectoral Committee on Physical Infrastructure on the oversight inquiry into the management, operation, and toll collection system of the Kampala Express Entebbe Way. I beg to lay the attachments. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members. For the interest of time, as indicated by the presiding officer, I'll try to summarize the report. The report of the Sectoral Committee on Physical Infrastructure on the oversight inquiry into the management, operation, toll collection system of the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway. Kampala-Entebbe Expressway, at what cost and for whose benefit? Right Honorable members and Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, introduction. The mandate of the committee is mandated to examine the sectors of works transport, to initiate or evaluate the action programs of ministries, departments, and agencies falling within its jurisdiction, to make recommendations on such programs, and to monitor the performance of the MDAs. The background to the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway. The Kampala-Entebbe Expressway is Uganda's first toll road. It's a 4-lane dual carriage highway running approximately 37.2 kilometers from Entebbe International Airport to Busega on the Kampala Northern Bypass, together with a spur of approximately 14.1 kilometers branching off Kajansi towards Munyonyo, giving a combined network commonly cited as approximately 51 kilometers. I'm going to skip several issues just for the interest of time. The backdrop to the committee's oversight exercise. During the orientation meeting, the committee observed a range of concerns regarding the expressway, including the continued reliance on cash transactions, audit gaps, contractor cost issues, management and procurement concerns, public finance management issues, questions surrounding loan repayment. The concerns left the committee with limited assurance regarding the management of the project and raised questions as to whether the loan would be repaid as envisaged and whether the project reflected value for money. The committee accordingly resolved to conduct a focused oversight exercise into the expressway pursuant to its mandate under Rules 195 and 197 of the Rules of Procedure of the Parliament of Uganda. The objectives were specific objectives to the inquiry. 1, establish the extent of government investment in the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway. 2, scrutinize the utilization of funds provided by the government of Uganda for the management and maintenance of the express. 3, to ascertain the challenges facing the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway toll operations. 4, to review the operators' toll operations against the specifications of the operation and management contract. 6, to review the operators' toll operations against the approved toll operating and financial management procedures manual. 6, to monitor and verify the accuracy of vehicle classifications at the toll stations. Furthermore, to evaluate customer experience and staff conduct at the toll stations, to evaluate the reliability of the toll system and the integrity of the toll operations, to propose improvements for implementation under the current contract and any future contractual phase. And lastly, to propose recommendations to enhance the efficiency of the effectiveness of the expressway toll operations. The methodology, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, the committee employed the following methodology. 1, we carried out field visits. This was the most important. I'm going to give a brief background. The committee made an impromptu visit on 29th July 2026 to obtain necessary data, specifically from the internal auditor of Pinnacle Security Limited by the names of Stella and the roads manager, Mr. Ivan Katamba. This data we obtained, the committee requested the ministry and the operator to submit data regarding the collections a week earlier before the investigation. We discovered the data the ministry had was the same data the operator had submitted. So this raised concerns. So we decided to make an impromptu visit, a surprise visit. And we obtained data from the internal auditor's system. And this is the data you're going to see the committee referring to as the committee's data. The committee further undertook a field visit to the Kampala-Entebbe Express on 11th August 2026 to acclimatize itself with the operation process of the toll management, whether both Pinnacle staff and Ministry of Works, with both Pinnacle staff and Ministry of Works officials. We had meetings with stakeholders, we received memoranda, we carried out desk research, documented review, documents were reviewed, and data analytical methodology. Given the volume of the raw data transactions, when you look at the data from 2022, these are over 28 million individual data sets. So we required, given the raw transactional data involving the spanning of 3 toll stations, Busaka, Kajansi, and Mpala, over the period of 2020 to 2026, comprising of over 28 million individual records, the committee applied computational data analytical techniques, Microsoft Excel namely, and big data analytics, specifically the Python programming language. Overview of the toll regime, the vehicle classification. Right, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, vehicles using the expressway are categorized in 5 classes. Class 1, these are motorcycles. Class 2, motorcycles are meant to pay 3,000. Class 2, these are light passenger vehicles. These are almost the vehicles all of us are driving. They are meant to pay 5,000. Class 3, heavy passenger vehicles. These are buses, coasters. They are meant to pay 10,000. Class 4, these are vehicles with large axles, 4 to 5 axles. They are supposed to pay 15. And lastly, Class 4B. These are very large vehicles with 6 or more axles. They are supposed to pay 18. Payment channels and past products, the committee observed that notwithstanding the exclusively cash and cash-based system regime, the Ministry of Works informed the committee that it intends to activate mobile money payments options by September 2026, with a further transaction phase 2 electronic tolling technology targeted from June 2027. The Ministry of Works further informed the committee that a full transaction to cashless payments would require additional investment in on-board unit technology. The committee further observes, cash-based toll collection is inherently slower, more susceptible to congestion, and materially more vulnerable to handling losses under declaration and security risks than electronic alternatives. The committee further observes that the full 5-year term of the operation and maintenance contract, no material transition away from the cash-based system was achieved, because the contract was given in 2022, it ended in May this year, and there was no significant effort by the ministry to move away from the cash-based system. The committee further observes challenges of cash transactions at toll roads can heavily impact on efficiency and road user experience. These include manual processing. The manual handling of cash transactions by human or machines inherently slower than electronic methods, resulting in reduced through output and higher operational costs. Security risks. Handling large amounts of cash poses risks, including theft, robbery, employee fraud. Implementing security measures adds to the overall operational costs. Environmental impact. The production and processing of physical currency have their own environmental footprint, contributing to traffic congestion and increased emissions. These challenges highlighted the need for technological alternatives such as electronic toll collection systems as shown below to improve the efficiency, reduce congestion, offer greater convenience to drivers. Furthermore, the committee observed that the ministry ran throughout the 5-year contract ending May 2026 with little or no significant attempt to transition out of the cash-based system. Exemptions framework. There are 8 types of toll collection methods there, but allow me just for the interest of time. The exemption framework. The toll exemptions are granted for emergency vehicles, including fire trucks. We came across different categories, and one was exemptions of vehicles that were not paying. The toll-free exemptions are granted for emergency vehicles, including fire trucks, ambulances, presidential convoy vehicles, and police patrol surveillance vehicles. The committee observed that the total exemptions at Busega Toll Plaza for 2025 alone total to 20,350, amounting to 101 million, UGX 101,750,000. Assuming class 2 vehicles, now we are considering the ones paying 5,000, which constitute a majority of the traffic, were the ones exempted. Under the Roads Act, exemptions are permissible, provided that they are implemented through a statutory instrument issued by the Ministry of Works. Although the committee requested for the statutory instrument supporting the exemptions, the Ministry of Works only provided one, and this was for NAM. Comparative regional analysis of Uganda and Kenya. Honorable members, in that table we compare Uganda and Kenya and Ethiopia. In Ethiopia, it is the government collecting this money, running the toll. We also compared the methods of collection. They are using M-Pesa in Kenya. So you just look at that table to compare, to have a comparative analysis. The status of project financing and loan repayment. The Kampala-Entebbe Expressway was financed at a total estimated project cost of approximately $476 million US, comprising of 350 million loan from Exim Bank of China, 2% at 2% annual interest for a 40-year term, and a $126 million US counterpart contribution from the government of Uganda, exclusive land compensation costs made separately by the government of Uganda. Revenue allocation. The Ministry of Works and Transport informed the committee that UGX 191.15 billion collected in toll revenue was collected in toll revenue, and 129.78 billion, which is 67.9% of the 191, was transferred to the escrow account maintained for loan repayment. UGX 86,557,309,649, which is 45.3%, was applied to the operation and maintenance contract to the operator. However, the new contract has since been executed with Ministry of Works and Pinnacle at a sum of 36 billion for a period of 1 year. So after the other contract expired this year in May, they have given another extension of 36 billion. The committee observed that the amount of money transferred to the escrow account, as stated by the Ministry of Works, and the amount of money paid to the operator is above the total collections declared by 25,187,309,649. Further attempts by the committee to reconcile the above figures was hindered by the Ministry of Finance's reluctance to provide the committee with a bank statement from the escrow account. Honorable members, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, we have discovered 3 areas where there may be revenue leakages. The first could be the escrow account, because there are 2 accounts. One is the operation account. When they collect money at the toll, they deposit it in the operations account, and the Ministry of Works officials transfer the money to the escrow account. But we have failed to access the escrow account, so we cannot even tell you how much has been used to pay for the loan. So one of the avenues we identify, although we can't confirm, because the ministry denied us access to this account, is this escrow account. Procurement of an operator to operate and manage the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway. The committee was informed that the decision to engage a private contractor to operate and maintain the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway was informed by the financing agreement and contractual obligations established under the original project's loan agreement. When we asked the ministry and UNRA officials, why did you have to go for a private contractor? Why didn't you operate this on your own? They told us it was embedded in the contract, but the committee has since established clause 4.3 of the repayment mechanism agreement of the Kampala-Entebbe Airport Expressway project provides that, I quote, except where either the borrower or the end user elects to operate the road itself, the borrower and or the end user shall, on before the execution of the escrow account agreement, appoint a reputable and experienced person to act as the operator of the Kampala-Entebbe Airport Expressway project on the following basis. The committee therefore observes that whereas the above clause puts an obligation on the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development as the borrower, UNRA as the end user to appoint an operator, this obligation only suffices where the 2 parties have not elected to operate the road by themselves. Therefore, the committee is tongue-tied and dumbstruck to discover that UNRA could even envisage giving a contract to a private company at a tune of 122 billion against the anticipated revenue of 146 billion, leaving only 24 billion for government loan repayment in a 5-year period since 2022. What we are trying to tell you is, UNRA did a feasibility study and anticipated that based on the vehicles that were using the old Entebbe, that they would collect a total of 146 billion in a 5-year period. But they went ahead and even contracted a private contractor, giving him a contract of 122, leaving us with only 24 billion. The committee observes that based on the above computation, the total sum of 24 billion left for government as per the anticipated revenue of UNRA in the 5 years would equate to a mere 4.8 billion per year and a monthly revenue of 400 million for Uganda, whereas the operator would get 24 billion per year when we get 4.8 per year, and an equivalent of 2 billion per month. The question therefore everyone should be asking, at whose cost and to whose benefit was the tolling service introduced and contracted? UNRWA's actions and intentions were further cast into doubt when the PSSC wrote to the ED of UNRWA, Ms. Allen Kajina, in a letter dated 8th October 2024, stating that operational model of the project, China Exim Bank, has observed that the current operator, MS Aegis Operations SA, will complete its contract in 2026. And the operation model may be modified. You are required to inform the ministry in advance, as stipulated in clause 4.3 of the repayment mechanism agreement of this project. What we are trying to say is the ministry was informing when this contract was running out. The PSSC wrote to UNRWA and stated, if you plan to operate the project independently, this further meant they even had room after the contract ended. If you plan to operate the project independently, a smooth handover with MS Aegis is recommended to ensure proper operation and management of the project. The committee finds that based on the above communication from the PSSC, Dr. Ramadan Ngobi, indeed UNRWA had the opportunity to save government operational costs it gave to the contract amounting to 122 billion, or initiate a new procurement in preparation of the new contractor, given the continuous dissatisfaction on the Aegis contractual performance. Section 8 of the UNRWA Act, repealed following the rationalization of UNRWA in 2024 under the UNRWA Repeal Act, provided for the Board of Directors as a governing body of UNRWA. Section 14 of the Act provided for the functions of the board, which included, inter alia, being responsible for the general direction and supervision of the authority and overseeing the operations authority. It follows that the board was directly aware of the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway project by law and had oversight supervision of its operation and maintenance. However, the committee did not come across any document or information to the effect that the board took it upon themselves to guide or give direction in respect to the maintenance and operations of the expressway. The committee therefore observed that the board largely and willfully neglected and or failed to perform its statutory mandate by giving general direction to the authority, but also the overall supervision of the authority and its projects. This in itself amounted to dereliction of duty and misconduct, to say the least. Section 19 of the Anti-Corruption Act, Cap 116, provides for the offense of causing financial loss, and it's there. Honorable members, you can read it. The committee observes that no clause in the repayment mechanism agreement for the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway project legally denied UNRWA to operate and maintain the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway itself, which could have saved government a lot of money, provided that UNRWA's personnel obtained the necessary skills in the road toll management. That should have been envisaged during the road construction. What we are telling you is, when that road was being constructed, everyone knew, including UNRWA, that this road would have tolls, because it's even stated in the design. So in that period of 5 years, they had even time to prepare. If they didn't have skills, they would have trained their staff to prepare to run this toll. The committee was further informed by management of Pinnacle Security Limited, when we met them, that they obtained experience, because one of the reasons they told us is they didn't have experience, so they looked for a private contract, that they obtained experience to manage the toll in just 6 months. This is just a private company. They obtained in 6 months, which we government could not do, which casts doubt as to why the Ministry of Works, UNRWA, could not train its staff to manage the toll and subcontract other activities, like road maintenance, if necessary, in a bid to save government high costs. Furthermore, the Ministry of Works officials informed the committee that the lifespan of the road was 20 years. Therefore, based on the current repayment of the loan, it would simply mean the government would not be able to repay the loan in the given lifespan above, due to the high operational costs to private contractors. We can play the audio because of time. The committee finds that the officers from the user department and PDU of UNRWA, who had the responsibility of defining technical requirements, drafting procurement plans, participating in bid evaluations, conducting contract negotiations, and managing contracts, failed in their duty to save the government of Uganda financial loss when they initiated the 122 billion contract sum at the expense of the loan repayment. 6.3, analysis of the agreement between government of Uganda and Aegis. Kindly go to 6.3. Now this is the contract being awarded. The owner, kindly go to the table. 6.3. The terms in the contract, the summary is there. What was the scope of the project? So that is the contract, 60 months. The address, everything, you can find it there, honorable members. Scope of the project. Particular conditions of the contract required Aegis Operations SA to complete works according to the following timelines from the start date of the contract. 1, improve works, road safety facilities, 6 months, expressway lighting, 6 months, tolling system, 3 months, independent traffic monitoring system, 3 months, overload control system, 3 months. But Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, what we discovered and what is shocking, the contractor, that is CCC, that constructed this road, gave us hardware, these were computers and the software, when he was handing over the road. But up to now, we have failed to trace them. And this could have helped the ministry. When we asked the ED, Miss Allen Kajina, she said she doesn't know, and she requested for 4 hours to give us a written statement, but up to date, we don't know where this software or hardware is. Failure to meet deadlines for completion of certain works. The committee was informed that whereas the contract required installation of an independent traffic monitoring system within 3 months, you saw it above there, the contract, that is GC 39.1 in the contract, stated that they were meant to set up an independent traffic monitoring system, which we as government were going to use to audit them. The committee was informed whereas the contract required installation of an independent traffic monitoring system within 3 months from 24th May 2021. UNRWA's internal audit report of July 2022 indicated that the ITMS, this is the independent traffic monitoring system, had not been installed as at the date when the audit was conducted. The report also indicated the automatic vehicle classifier had not been provided, hence vehicles were being classified manually by toll collectors, which was utterly erroneous to date. And to date, we went there, it's the toll operator who decides which vehicle is classed this, which vehicle should pay this, and we sued. You can play the video if we have time. The committee observes the operator has persistently neglected or otherwise failed to carry out its obligations under the contract without just cause. And furthermore, the operator's conduct, even after UNRWA continued notice of breach from inception, signifies impunity and total disregard of contractual obligations. For example, honorable members, the independent traffic monitoring system, up to date, even in the renewed contract, is not installed. So we can't even audit the vehicles that have passed. The operation and maintenance contract, Aegis operations. Contract overview. On 13th April 2021, the Ministry of Works and Transport signed a 5-year contract with Aegis Road Operations SA for the operations and maintenance, including toll collections of the 25-kilometer section of the expressway between Busega and Impala interchanges. The scope of the contract covered routine and periodic road maintenance, toll collection operations, and toll plaza maintenance, marketing, branding, customer service, as indicated in the table. You just go to the table. So that was the scope of the contract. As you can see, the first one, A, is operations and maintenance services, 55 billion, and that is a lump sum. What it actually means is whether they do these services or not, we must pay. One-off designs for construction, that one we must pay. The money we saved was on admeasured road maintenance works, because that one they had to account for it, and also the 10% physical contingency, plus also the VAT. Otherwise, we paid the rest, because they signed a lump sum contract, and you're going to see in the next table. The committee observes that there are no KPIs between Ministry of Works and the operator that give monthly revenue targets versus the actual revenue collected. The absence of the monthly KPIs on revenue collection is a deliberate window created under declaration of revenue collection performance and negligence of the oversight of the Ministry of Works. The committee analyzed the lump sum for the performance-based operation maintenance. Kindly go to the next table. The next table. That one. You look at that table. Now, this is the money we're paying per month on the operations and maintenance of on the operation and maintenance services. When you look at incident management, 53, I'll give one example, 53.789901. This is towing vehicles 30 minutes after. They are mandated to tow a vehicle 30 minutes after it gets an accident on the expressway. So we asked them, do you mean that every month you tow to zero balance, not even 89,000 is left? And the officials admitted, we have no choice, we must pay the entire sum. This is like Parliament budgeting for, God forbid, MPs dying in a financial, and you say all the money has been depleted when they have not died. So all these costs you see there, whether they brand, whether they market, we must pay those costs because they have committed us to a lump sum contract. The committee further observed, while engaging in the contract's approval, while engaging in the contract's approval, the Ministry of Works and Transport did not demonstrate value for money in terms of benefit savings generated by Aegis and Pinnacle to justify the funds for the items in the table above. There is performance risk since payments are not sufficiently tied to verified results. Government could be paying where expected benefits are not achieved. This is a performance contract with long-term costs. The contract can create future financial obligations that may not be obvious from the initial contract value. The former Director, Road Maintenance Engineer Joseph Otim, informed the committee that payments were lump sum and had to be paid whether the services had been provided or not, which defeats the objective of the assessment. Ministry's internal control framework. The Ministry of Works informed the committee that it operates multi-layered monitoring and control framework intended to verify the completeness and accuracy of toll collections, comprising 1, an independent traffic revenue monitoring system that captures and independently verifies traffic volumes. We're asking them, how do you audit these people? And this is what they told us. Automatic traffic counters at joining roads, including Surface Kampala Entebbe Express, Entebbe Road, daily and monthly revenue reconciliations, comparing traffic records, toll transactions, cash collections, and bank deposits, and lastly, real-time video monitoring of toll operations. The committee observes that there is actually no independent traffic revenue monitoring system that captures and independently verifies traffic volumes at the toll transactions by the ministry, and that to date, Aegis Pinnacle Security Limited has denied the ministry access to the codes for audit. Since the inception, you can play the audio if there is time, of the ministry informing us, and these directors of the managers of Pinnacle admitting that they cannot, and they will give them to us in the near future. Pinnacle, you will know. Furthermore, the only system that would have helped the ministry carry out independent traffic and revenue monitoring would have been a way in motion. The first system that was embedded in the contract was an independent traffic and revenue monitoring system. This system is supposed to be installed at the exit of the express. So every vehicle, the ministry should be capturing data on the laptops live. So they failed to install that one. Furthermore, the only system that would have helped the ministry carry out independent traffic and revenue monitoring would have been the weigh-in-motion scale. Aegis, however, installed a static scale at all the 3 tolls of the KE and intentionally refused to install the weigh-in-motion scale, even after repeated warnings. The warnings are attached by UNRWA. Now the challenge we have is UNRWA kept warning, but you can't install an independent traffic monitoring system to help us audit, and you don't even terminate this person's contract. You let him run out his 5-year. UNRWA further made several concerns in their reports demanding the above system be installed, which Aegis adamantly refused. For example, in the UNRWA Project Manager's monthly progress report for February 2024, the independent traffic monitoring system was supposed to be implemented within 3 months of the contract start. By November 2020, the contractor was expected to deliver the ITMS system and communicate the user acceptance test dates, but this was not accomplished up to date. Very minimal progress was made. Similarly, the same for the weigh-in-motion scale, which has not been installed to date. Similar reports from UNRWA in August 2024 Project Manager's report highlighted the same. The weigh-in-motion scales, which they should also have, you see, when you see the scales we have, weight bridges we have in Uganda, for example, the one in Barara, we have 3, Maga, they should have weigh-in-motion scales on the road. These scales should be able to inform the ministry or anyone auditing live data, give live data, but they have not installed them even on the current weight bridges intentionally. Yet even we purchased these weigh-in-motion scales. Weigh-in-motion scale, the audit process by providing tamper-evident time-stamped record for critical events and changes associated with weighing activities and weighing data. These includes login, tier 0 calibration checks, configuration changes, weigh captures, manual entries, overrides, reweighs, etc. As instead, in summary, the weigh-in-motion scales play a critical role in the auditing by providing a secure computer-generated time-stamped record for critical events and changes associated with the weighing activities and weighing data. This ensures that the data is reliable and can be used as evidence in investigations and audits. The committee observes that the requirement for a low gradient, when we interacted with these operators during the meeting, they told us the gradient at the toll plazas is not suitable. But when we asked the ED UNRWA, she said they had never raised this. The committee observes that the requirement for a low gradient stroke unstable terrain near the toll plazas explanation does not justify on both engineering and contractual grounds. The claim does not withstand technical scrutiny and appears designed to protect the operator from an independent audit tool rather than reflect genuine site constraints. What the way in motion does is estimates, so it doesn't need a flat ground. But all of you who have passed by the tolls, this area is flat, so let's not waste time on that one. So we don't find their excuse of merit. Automatic traffic counters. The committee expected the Ministry of Works, even after the operator refused to install an independent traffic monitoring system. The committee expected the Ministry of Works, in order to save us, to install the simplest and cheapest system to help them audit and monitor traffic remotely, and independently known as the automatic traffic counter system, which the ministry has installed, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members. This is a system, it just has a control box on both sides of the road, and they put sensors underneath the road. And it costs just 200 million. So we expected the minister at least install this one to help us audit these people. But to our surprise, they installed it on the old Entebbe. And not a road like this of strategic importance. The committee expected the Ministry of Works to install the simplest and cheapest system to help them audit and monitor traffic remotely and independently known as the automatic traffic counter system, which the ministry has installed on the committees, to the committee's surprise, at Old Kampala Entebbe Road and 9 other roads in the country, but not the Kampala Entebbe Expressway Road, which has more significant value and audit need at an average cost of 220 million shillings each. Indeed, when the Ministry of Works appeared before the committee, because when this system is installed, as long as the ministry opens their laptop, they can tell you, since morning, 600 cars have passed on the old Entebbe. But we told them, okay, tell us how many have passed on the expressway. They could not, because the system is not installed. And they admitted, if we had time, we would also play the audio. For the interest of time, can we go to the photo so that members can understand what this is? You see that car box? That is the ATC, automatic traffic counter. It's just like a box on the side of the road. If you use the Entebbe Road, it is there towards Lubao. Yeah. It's just like a box, 200 million. But even this simple one, they could not install to save us. The committee observes that the failure to have systems in place to do independent traffic and monitoring have caused government financial loss. The committee was informed by the Ministry of Works and Transport through the Commissioner of National Roads, Engineer Wani, that one of the reasons they could not operate the system was because they did not have software, and that the software would have cost the ministry a tune of 5 billion. So when we asked them, why didn't you do this by yourselves? They said, we didn't have the software. So we prompted them, how much does the software cost? They told us 5 billion. But even if you compare 5 billion to the 122 billion, it doesn't make any economic sense. But furthermore, the committee tried to purchase the software. When we interacted with the manager of Aegis, currently now Pinnacle, Mr. Ivan Katamba, we asked him what is the name of this software. He told us the name is called Tolysis. The committee carried out an independent online investigation of the system. We went online and tried to buy it. The Tolysis system is designed to manage toll operations efficiently and effectively. It includes the following: transaction management, data collection, the rest are there. The committee finds reason to believe that based on the above functionality, because according to the data online, the system should be offering real-time monitoring across the entire networks when you read those functions. The committee finds the reason to believe, based on the functionality of the current system at the KEE, and compared to the functionality of the above Tolysis system, that there's a total mismatch in functionality. For example, transactions cannot be traced, it cannot offer real-time monitoring, it can't automatically classify a vehicle. You have to click the vehicle that has passed, and we tried it. We used the Perliament coaster, it passed, and we had paid 5,000. But of course, as Parliament, we refunded, but it was just for the experiment. It can't offer real-time monitoring. It can't automatically classify a vehicle.
Chair, just can you, for the record, can you tell us what you found out as policies, the amount?
The amount, the invoice is 6,000. The invoice is at the back. It's 6,000, 44,000. US dollars.
That's for buying the domain or buying the...
Well, for us, we looked up the name Policies. And it is a domain. They should not lie to you that this is a software. Because it is hosted under Aegis. It is a domain. And that's why you see we are requesting for the source codes and they can't provide.
Honorable Chair, proceed.
Okay. The committee finds that this specific one can't determine vehicle speeds among others. Therefore, the existing system could be none other than a desktop POS exit system similar to the one used in supermarkets, or the operator has intentionally disabled the functions of the system to his benefit. If at all the system is what they claim it is, it should have the functionality above. But from our analysis and our observation, it doesn't have. It means either he has disabled some functionality or it is like the one in supermarkets. The committee finds that whereas the Ministry of Works and Transport officials informed the committee that the Policies software used on the KE would cost government a tune of 5 billion, the committee attempted to purchase and the invoice is there. But whether it is 5 billion or not, it doesn't justify you giving a contractor. And we also have software that was given to us by the person who constructed the road that is still nowhere to be found. And the hardware. So if the software was the issue, they should have used the other one that was given to us. When we asked Aegis where they were, Aegis said they found them there and removed them and handed them over to UNRWA, but we don't know where they are to date. The committee further tasked officials from Aegis during a field visit on 11th August 2026 to print a statement similar to an individual's bank statement. Right, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, if you went to a bank and you could not print your statement, your bank statement, it means they can alter your transactions or even take your money. So we asked them, we gave them 2 number plates and said, okay, print a statement of these vehicles. And they failed to print because they cannot. They cannot. The general manager by the names of Ivan Katamba informed the committee that this was possible. However, the committee waited to no avail only to discover that the system only prints statements for cars using UPESA cards, but for cars paying cash, it is impossible, and these are the most. For example, during UNRWA's audit, a search was made based on a picture of a motor vehicle. The UNRWA's forensic audit is attached. Was made based on a picture of a motor vehicle number UBJ 698Y going through Busega Lane, 606 on 25th April 2022 at 15:54 hours, as shown in their database. However, when the system was checked by URA, 0 records captured a vehicle at that time. The internal auditor at Ministry of Works discovered that 93 motor vehicles were observed to have paid and passed the CCTV footage and yet were not recorded in the toll system. The committee established that the KEE toll collection system was unable to generate a reliable statement identifying vehicles that paid toll fees in cash, and this was demonstrated during the committee's visit at the KEE on 11th August 2026. The system therefore could not provide in a readily extractable and independently verifiable form a complete transaction level record for cash payment, vehicle showing, among other particulars, the vehicle registration number, vehicle classification, toll plaza date, all these it cannot. The committee further observes that the revenue leakage could only remain undetected due to cases where cash was collected but not fully recorded or remitted, and incorrect vehicle classification or under collection cannot be readily detected. Findings on revenue. Now, here we're talking about the Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, the Auditor General has never carried out a revenue audit since 2022 on this project. And yet he carries out simple audits on the collections of Entebbe Airport, that money in the car park. But this particular one he has never. According to clause 6.5 of the operation and maintenance of Kampala-Entebbe Expressway specifications, UNRWA and or the Auditor General is required to carry out periodic audits of operations covering, among others, cash handling, change shift procedures, control room management, documentation collector, documentation supervisor, incident control, operating procedure manuals, plaza computers, toll authority, cards, administration, security toll, etc. The committee notes that whereas the argument does not explicitly define what amounts to the phrase periodic audits, the word periodic audits refers to something happening fairly, often, or regularly. The failure of the Auditor General to carry out periodic audits on the operations under the contract raises concerns of financial transparency, accountability, and proper use of revenues collected by Aegis Road Operations, SS/Pinnacle. The committee was informed that the Auditor General audited Kampala-Entebbe Expressway from 2022 to date has not audited. In 2023, when he wrote to the Auditor General to justify why he has not audited, he wrote back to us that he cannot audit an individual, and it's attached, annexed 10, his letter to the committee. He cannot audit that project individually, he must audit the entire union. But even the entire union, you would be auditing such a project of government significance. So the committee observes that there was a deliberate neglect of duty on the part of the Auditor General. The only audit he did was in 2023, and this was on the fence. You can see the Auditor General's report. He said there was no fence and the lights were not there, but he did not audit revenue. The Auditor General's report is also attached. He did not audit the revenue. The committee observes that there was a deliberate neglect of duty on the part of the Auditor General to audit the toll operations, specifically the financial transactions. The single audit that was within the entire 5-year period availed to the committee of June 2023 did not have any audit on revenue, which is very risky. The committee observed, further noted, that Parliament Standing Committee report on COSASE recommended that a special audit be carried out on the operations and maintenance of the KE and report back to Parliament within 3 months. The report was adopted by Parliament in December 2022. Had the Auditor General executed his mandate as requested by Parliament, he would have averted financial loss. The Auditor General in his submission to the committee admitted to have audited only 1 financial year to date, and that audit didn't have revenue. The letter is there. Now, audit. Right, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, even before we go to our findings, several entities have tried to audit this contract or this operation. The first one was UNRWA. UNRWA audit on 2nd December 2022. The ED UNRWA wrote to the General Manager, Aegis, to facilitate the Director Internal Audit.
Did you say URA or UNRWA?
UNRWA, but URA also did, but also UNRWA. We start with UNRWA.
Okay.
On 2nd December 2022, the ED UNRWA wrote to the General Manager, Aegis, to facilitate the Director Internal Audit at UNRWA with all necessary requirements for an internal audit. The ED stated, I have variously received reports that the systems of the toll revenue collections has up to now not been accepted by the project manager because it does not meet the standards as per the contract provisions. Further, that there are usually incidents of data disappearing. The letter is attached. On 22nd December 2022, in response, Aegis wrote back to the ED UNRWA, Allen Kajina, informing her that they would not provide full access to the following because the system responsibility could be compromised. And the letters are also there from these people. Full access to the back end to both system application and data and its database. 2, full access to the servers at the toll plazas, at all toll plazas actually. Full access to the backup servers. On 28th March 2023, the Director Internal Audit, Moses Kasacha, further wrote to the General Manager Aegis, reference is made to our letter dated 2nd December 2022, requesting for information to carry out an audit. However, to date, we have only received server images, which we have failed to access due to lack of passwords. So they gave them all the images and they could not even access them because they were password protected. The request for passwords was sent through the email and this has not been honored. However, with the little information UNRWA had, it nonetheless carried out an audit between 1st December 2023 to 31st December 2023, which, with the limited data requirements given by Aegis contrary to what it required, and made discoveries of financial leakage as shown in the table below. When you look at that table, so that was an audit for 30 days. The money they should have collected versus the money they deposited on their account. Even with the little data that was given to them, they discovered those minor leakages. The committee observes that unreasonable delays in providing access to data by the operator not only prolonged the audit process but also increased the risk of overlooking critical evidence due to time constraints. Furthermore, now UNRWA is now doing the forensic audit. We have finished the one of UNRWA, now it's URA, doing a forensic audit. On 28th November 2022, the executive director, she was not satisfied with the other audit, so now she writes to URA to help her carry out a forensic audit. On 28th November 2022, the executive director of UNRWA, Mrs. Allen Kajina, wrote to URA Commissioner General, where she stated, there have been reports that suggest possible manipulations or worse still, system inefficiencies in regards to data protection and integrity. In light of the above, I request you to support UNRWA with the forensic audit services, both human resource and forensic tools to assist in carrying out forensic audit. Similarly, in response on 16th December 2022, the Commissioner General UNRWA wrote to the ED, herein stated, we are pleased to inform you that URA will provide the requisite support with possible means. On October 4th, 2024, Dennis Kugonza, Commissioner of Tax Investigations, wrote a letter informing the ED that they have now finished the investigation. These are annexed. The entire forensic report is attached. But some of the challenges we have highlighted, challenges discovered, lack of system documentation. Absence of adequate system documentation hindered understanding of the database schema, transaction generation logic, and expected behavior of record identifiers and POS numbers. 2, absence of reliable database backups. Reliable, complete, and restorable database backups covering a period of interest were not available. These several limited the ability to recover missing records or reconstruct the database state at earlier points in time. Missing records. A gap analysis identified that over 1 million records were missing from the database between 2022 and 2020. These gaps suggest inconsistencies are all potential malicious actions posing a significant risk of revenue loss. 4, lack of critical system logs. System logs are essential for tracking actions performed within systems and or providing vital audit trails. Without these logs, it was not possible to determine the pattern of transaction identifiers and the reason behind their disproportionate growth relative to the records in the database. 5, deletion of motor vehicle pictures. The deletion of motor vehicle images of vehicles passing through the toll impeded data reconstruction efforts. In the absence of relevant database backups and system logs, secondary sources such as motor vehicle images are crucial for data reconstruction. These images can provide visual record of the number of transactions given at given times. Their deletion eliminated the critical source of corroboration and made it impossible to accurately reconstruct transaction histories and validate the number of sales made at various stores. And the rest are there. Honorable members, you can read the entire report. So this is just to tell you.
Can you members allow the Minister of Lands to access the front bench? Honorable C.D. Lowilla, please let her come.
Honorable members, there were several audits before that also discovered revenue leakages, and they are there. You can read the audits. In conclusion, URA, this was in their conclusion, not ours. URA has uncovered significant vulnerabilities and inconsistencies that will lead to substantial revenue loss. The committee observes that this is clear evidence of coordinated system manipulation, collusion, exploitation, financial engineering, and deception on the side of the operator to embezzle government funds. Under Section 13 of the Computer Misuse Act, Cap 96 provides for the offense of unauthorized modification of the computer materials, and it states as follows. Furthermore, the last audit, Ministry of Works got just graduates from the university to go and help them audit for 20 days, to sit there and report the number of vehicles versus what they are reporting. And this was sanctioned by the General Katumba Wamala. The Ministry of Works and Transport conducted a toll check exercise on the expressway between 1st and 20th November 2025, commissioned to independently verify toll operations, revenue integrity, and system reliability across Kajansi, Impala, and Busega toll plazas, all provided under Clause 6.5 of the contract specification. The exercise reviewed the operational toll operations against the approved toll operating and financial management procedures. Go to the table quickly. So these young graduates, even with their lack of technical expertise and equipment, in just 20 days discovered that there were variances between what these people are declaring and what they are collecting. And it is there, and the report is also attached.
Can you speak to that?
Okay. The committee observes that the financial report of November 2025 submitted by Ministry of Works, the collected revenue of UGX 3.5, you can go to the table, 3.55 to 035, 3.55205 over a period of 30 days. However, in the same month, because now this 3.552 is what the Ministry of Works informed us they collected in the entire month. However, in the same month, in the 20 days, the collected revenue was 2.581,03301 as reported in the toll check revenue report of the January 2026 having undertaken by these graduates. But what this actually means, between 1st November and 20th November 2025, this by implication means in the 20 days, these young people in the 20 days they were there to help audit, there was an average of 120 million per day collected. However, on the 10 days when they left, it dropped to 97 average per day. So this is already a glaring fact. The committee observes that the toll check exercise, being the only substantive independent verification exercise conducted on the toll system since tolling began in 2022 itself, revealed material operational weaknesses. These include heavy reliance on manual data entry. This is just a summary of what they discovered. Law on performance and obligations under the contract. The committee tasked UNRA to explain why, after all the instances of breach of contract, UNRA did not terminate the contract or explore remedial options under the contract, including arbitration. The committee was informed that terminating the contract would be financially detrimental to the government, and this is why UNRA opted for dialogue with Aegis Operations to address the breach of contractual obligations. The committee observes that UNRA was grossly negligent in enforcing the contractual obligations under the contract and as such led to financial loss to the government. For example, the continued failure to install a weigh-in-motion bridge and the independent traffic monitoring system. This one cannot be excused. Because if you babysit an operator who can't install a mechanism for us to audit them till their contract ends. So which could only have helped government remotely audit transactions at the tolls as stated in the contract. Analysis, now this is our analysis of another leakage, how we believe money is being taken. The committee analyzed that Stanbic Bank Uganda Limited control account statements with the help of Perliament, support of the Office of the Clerk, we managed to retrieve the entire bank statement since 2022, where they have been banking this money. Daily cash leakages, kindly go to table 7. Table 7. The committee's analysis found that, for example, on 12th November 2022, UGX 133,667 million was collected across the 3 tolls. But before I even go into these leakages, let me explain how, because you're going to see data at a certain point, the committee referring to the committee's data. The committee's data in this case is the data when we made a surprise visit and obtained data from their internal auditor's system. That is what we refer to the committee's data. And that is why on the 3 occasions, we asked them to dispute. Every time they came to the committee, we begged them, please dispute our discrepancies. They could not, because it's now their data versus their data. They submitted data to the committee a week before the investigation started. And then we went, after receiving their data, to obtain data from their internal auditor's system. So all the data is there. And after obtaining this data, we asked the managing director of Aegis, Pinnacle, to append a signature to verify that data came from them. So they failed to dispute our data because it's their data versus their data. So the committee's analysis found, for example, on November 12, 2024, 133 million was collected across the 3 toll stations, but the amount subsequently banked on 14th November 2024 was 120, variance of 12.755 million. So what you see there, Now we are comparing the bank statement versus what they are banking. This is the first revenue check. The second one, go to table 8. Table 8, okay, go to table 8. Monthly, that was daily. The first one was daily. Now we are comparing, we are just sampling a few months. Now this is because the data sets are too large. Now monthly cash leakages, Busega toll, February, March 2026. This is March. Cash collections, 2.1 billion. Cash banked, 1.3. This is a variance of 857,101,000. So that, and this is from the bank, this is bank statement versus what they submitted. At Busega toll station in February and March 2026, cash collected was 2.1.
Chair, you should be clear.
Yes, sir.
Are you reporting accurately about what you saw or what you heard?
Right, Honorable. What we are reporting is they gave us a document prior to the investigation with what they said were their monthly collections. Now, we are comparing what they say were their monthly collections versus what they actually banked on the bank statement. And both documents are attached for reference.
Please go ahead.
So the first one was a daily analysis. Now we are doing a monthly analysis. At Busega toll station in February and March 2026, the cash collected was 2.185 billion, 5,000 and 1.549 billion, 815,000 respectively. While the cash banked is there, giving a total variance in the 2 months respectively is there. The committee observes from the randomly sampled months identified by the committee. Oh, the amount. Okay. I thought I was trying to save time. You could see the figures. Okay. At the Busega toll station in February and March 2026, the cash collected was UGX 2.185 billion, 5,000 and 1.549 billion, 815,000 respectively. While the cash banked was 1.327 billion, 895,000 and 1,301,228,000 respectively, giving variances of 857,110,000 and 248,587,000 for the 2 months respective. These were just samples. The committee observes that from the randomly sampled months identified by the committee, it clearly demonstrates inconsistencies in monthly revenue collections by the operator vis-a-vis the amounts banked in the same months in the operations account in Stanbic Bank, giving a staggering and mind-blowing total variance of 1.1 billion, 5,697,000. Misclassifications of vehicles. The live test at the toll gates to determine whether the system would permit access to a higher vehicle class using UPESI card registered to a lower class. We use the card registered for a class B. This is a normal car paying 5,000. A small one, yes. Our UPESI card registered to class B vehicle was used and was found to grant access to a coaster properly falling within class 4. This confirms that a cash transaction, the toll gate would similarly open for a misclassified vehicle since classification is determined manually by the teller on duty, who selects the vehicle class and receives payments before granting access. This exposes the system to underclassification, whereby a teller may receive a higher cash amount from a road user but declare a record lower amount corresponding to a cheaper vehicle class. Aegis audited financial statements, right, honorable members, go to the table for the interest of time. We looked at their audited books of accounts, and we realized they declare losses all the time. Since inception. The committee, and you can see the revenue they get is 13,879,598. You look at their cost of sales, the gross profit is now reduced to 109,865,000 plus the other income of 7.4 million, giving a gross income, go down, kindly go down for the members to see. Then they inflate the total operating costs, giving us a zero. The committee observes that, notwithstanding reported losses in each of the 5 years of the contract, Aegis continued in operation throughout the contract term and subsequently able to novate the contract to Pinnacle Security Limited. This casts serious doubt on the reported financial loss, and in the committee's view, this warrants a forensic tax audit because the same operator sought an extension after the expiry of the contract period. So if he was making losses, we don't know why he still wanted to continue. Data integrity analysis. Now, go to the 9.0. Now here, at first we were using the bank statements. Now we are using data integrity based on the data received from the internal auditor. This section presents the committee's independent computational analysis of the raw transactional data obtained from Aegis, benchmarked against corresponding summary figures reported by the Ministry of Works, Transport, and using the sampling methodology using big data analysis. This is now software, the Python programming language. Because from 2022, these data sets are too large. So for each of the five sampled months, now we have sampled months, kindly go to the table. For each of the 5 sampled months, the committee independently computed total revenue from the raw Aegis transactional data and compared it against the corresponding figure reported by the ministry. What the ministry reported is the same as what the operator reported. When you look at that table, for example, January, what we got from their internal auditor system showed that they got 2.4 in January, 2.481 billion, 744. But what they report and what they banked was 2.3, a variance of 134 million, 52,100. The same throughout those sampled months. We are comparing what their internal auditor gave us and what their manager certified versus what they submitted to the committee earlier and what the Ministry of Works has. The committee observes that the ministry's figures being lower than the committee in every single sampled month, without a single instance of the reverse, is not consistent with the random data entry error. When you use this programming language, you don't make errors. It's impossible. With random data entry errors, which would ordinarily be expected to produce discrepancies in both directions, it is more consistent with systemic issue on how revenue is recorded, reconciled, or reported by the ministry. The size of the gap grew steadily from January 2022, a negative 5.71, to November 2024, a negative 10, before narrowly sharply or in May 2026 to 0.49. The committee is unable to determine from the data reviewed whether this narrowing reflects a genuine improvement in the ministry's reporting or a change in reconciliation practice. Inconsistencies in reported traffic. At first, we were comparing random months using programming language. Now we are comparing the vehicles, number of vehicles as per the data we obtained. Go to the table. So in the table, in the first table you see there, to prove that this software actually works. Applying the same methodology, the committee independently computed the number of vehicles passing the toll stations by vehicle class of the same 5 sampled months, the other months, and compared these against the ministry's reported traffic, table 13 and table 14 below. Now what shocks you when we use this data analytic software, for the month of December, we had exactly what they have. But now you go to the next step. That means it is actually working. Now, when you go to that table, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, the ministry reports to have 104,494 more vehicles than ours. But again, what beats our understanding, they report less revenue. So either this is engineering, creativity, we shall see.
Or they forgot to reconcile.
Or they forgot to edit. In December 2023, the two data sets matched exactly across every vehicle class with zero discrepancies. In May 2026, by contrast, the ministry's reported traffic exceeded the committee's independently computed traffic in every single vehicle class. And you see, let's go back to the table. Right, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Members, even if you compute that, the number of vehicles they have given, the ministry has reported, times the amount each class is supposed to pay, you will find that they should have declared 4.4 billion. But instead they declared 3.9 billion. Go to the table. Kindly go to the table. The graph, the next graph, for the interest of time. The graph, just continue down. Down. That graph. You see from that graph, the first line shows the traffic percentage, the committees versus the ministry. You see, I don't know if you can see, negative 0.19 is the traffic we had. We had less than their traffic. But even when we had less traffic than theirs, the second graph up, that line above, we had less traffic, but we had more revenue than theirs by plus 5.71%. But even when we had the same traffic, where you see 0.0%, when we had the same traffic as theirs, we still had more revenue than theirs. You can see the second one, December 2023. That's just a summary. Remember as you read that. What it actually means, you can just see. Vehicles passing, free passage. Now, we are going to tell you what will be done. Vehicles passing free of charge. Now, at the express, we have vehicles that are exempted. Those are ambulances, presidential convoy, although it must be by statutory declaration. But we also have vehicles that pass using a free pass. So we are analyzing this. Go to the table. Kindly go to the table so our members can see. All those vehicles have been passing using a free pass. Now, when we prompted, kindly go down to the graph. I just want to show the members for the interest of time a summary of those findings. Go to the graph. There. You see, the operator told us that these are staff of the operator, of Pinnacle. So they should not be paying, they just pass. But when you look at that graph, based on the data above, the graph is just a summary. Let's assume they are staff. If they are going to work every day, that graph should be consistent. But you see, for example, May, the graph shoots up. The vehicles on that day that got free passes, I don't know if they recruited 30,000 more people on that day to use, and later they drop, and then they increase. So that alone shows you that these people are engineering the free passes to fleece government of their money. Over the period reviewed, 2022 to date, a total of 62,873 vehicles passed through Busega, and that's just an analysis of Busega alone, that graph. Passed through Busega toll station without being charged a toll fee. Applying standard class of 2, let's assume the 62,000 we found in Busega, on the Busega database, to have passed, applying a standard rate of 5,000, the committee's traffic analysis establishes that these overwhelming majority, the class 2, as an average assumption across 62,873 vehicles, the committee estimates that approximately 314,364,000 in toll revenue was foregone at the Busega toll alone over the period reviewed. The revenue foregone across the expressway as a whole is definitely, without doubt, much higher, because there are 3 and we have only analyzed Busega. The committee's review of the underlying transaction records found that the majority of vehicles recorded as passing free of charge bear private number plates. The committee was informed that these passages relate to project staff, and these are just 62 people, and who work in shifts, but was not able to independently verify this explanation from the data available, contrary to Section 8 of the Roads Act. The Roads Act, in summary, says everyone must pay, except those exempted. So we want these people to refund this money. The committee observes that even with the free pass being given to staff, the pattern of movement should have been fairly consistent, given this free pass would be assumingly used by staff to access their routine places of work. However, it's evident from the committee analysis that the graph above in the month of May shot up to 1,433 from an average 1,134 free passes of the month of April in the same year. This analysis is a clear indication that the free pass is being misused by the operator to deny government its rightful expected revenue to pay off the debt. Committee general observations, Right Honourable Speaker. Lack of an automated vehicle classifier, those are general observations. But in those general observations, kindly go to the table of withholding tax remittances. Kindly go down. That one, table 17. When you look at that table, the committee observes that it's in the sampled IPCs above, all tax remittances are below the statutory rate of 6%. You see, they are using 5.4, 5.6, 5. Even nil. In addition, the operators reported losses in all their financial statements, implying that they were not liable to pay any income, which would be reconciled with the withholding tax. The innovation, kindly got 10.5. Now, I'm sure people are wondering who is Aegis and who is Pinnacle. We had the same challenge. We didn't know who is Pinnacle and who is Aegis. The first contract was given to Aegis in 2022. But Aegis contracted Pinnacle to do 98% of this work. This includes everything. I read it earlier. And then what makes it worse, all staff of Aegis contracted a company known as Seawall to hire staff and gave them contracts. After a few days, and these contracts are also attached, they made them sign contracts with Pinnacle. The same general manager of Pinnacle is the same general manager of Aegis. The same internal audit of Pinnacle is the same internal audit of Aegis. The same staff. So we had a big problem. But finally, Right Honourable members, finally, they saved us the confusion with this innovation. Innovation means before the contract ran out this year, 2 months before the contract ran out, Pinnacle innovated, taking complete liability of everything under Aegis. So now Aegis disappeared, it's now fully Pinnacle. And it takes full liability in this innovation. Okay? 10.1, failure to obtain legal advice regarding extension of the contract. Article 1195 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995 is to the effect subject to the provisions of the Constitution, no agreement, contract, treaty, convention, or document by whatever name called, to which the government is a party or in respect of which government has an interest, shall be concluded without legal advice from the Attorney General, except in such cases as subject to such conditions as Parliament by law may prescribe. The committee observes that the extension, when the contract ended, they gave them an extension of 1 year at 36 billion. Remember, our average collections per month are 42 billion. Per year, sorry, are 42 billion. Now they are giving them another extension of 36 billion, meaning we are now looking at 6 billion for Uganda. The committee observes the extension of the contract of the KE in favor of Pinnacle Limited is irregular because it was obtained in total disregard of Article 1195 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. The extension of the contract, the committee observes that whereas the contract was supposed to expire on 23rd May 2026, an novation agreement was executed on May 8th, 2026 in order for Pinnacle Security Limited to operate and maintain the KEE. The contract legally expired on 23rd May 2026 because the extension of the contract wherein government has an interest was obtained in contravention of Article 1195 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995. The committee further observes such extension of contract without legal advice of the Attorney General is barred by law and barred in law, and such is null, void, and unenforceable. The committee observes that was given at a total sum of 36 billion for 1 year, whereas ministry justified this was the existing balance. You will see they will be telling you from the 122, some money was not given to the operator. And it is true because some of this money was attached, if you had seen the earlier table, to unmeasurable road maintenance. But because it was a new road, they could not spend all of it. Because this money you must account for. And therefore, it also reduced the VAT. So they did take all of it, 36 remained. So more or less as if they said, okay, even the remaining, give us another contract, we finish it. So the committee observes that the extension was given a total sum of 36 billion for 1 year, whereas Minister of Works justified this was the existing balance on the previous contract under Aegis. This was unintentional ploy to exhaust the entire contract sum. Because now the money that was left because of VAT, because of unmeasurable costs, is going to be rebalanced to the lump sum cost of maintenance, which must be spent. It was zero. There was poor achievement of performance indicators highlighted by UNRWA from the onset and even by the time of the expiry of the original contract of Aegis. However, the Ministry of Works advertently, purposefully, consciously, knowingly and deliberately extended the contract for another period of 1 year contrary to the satisfactory performance requirement in clause 39(1) of the particular conditions of the contract. If you know these people can't install an independent monitoring system, they have failed to install it in 5 years. Why are you extending to give them another time, even up to now? They are 3 months into the new contract. They have still not installed it. Finds all the officials knowingly participated in the extension of the contract with Pinnacle, the operator, culpable under Section 10 of the Anti-Corruption Act, Cap 116. The committee further observes that UNRWA and Minister of Works had adequate time during the 5 year contract to prepare a takeover of the operation and maintenance. This is justified in the contract when staff of Minister of Works were taken by Aegis for capacity building to India for a whooping colossal sum of 220. Those who worry about government taking over, we have 12 staff that were taken to the University of Engineering in India to study tolling engineering. And we paid 220 for these key professionals. And they are under Ministry of Works. So in case you doubt government's capacity to manage, we have evidence. We paid money and they are here, they are at the ministry. They are Ugandans. Yes. Section 19(1) of the UNRWA Act repealed provided that the ED was responsible for the day-to-day operations and administration of the authority. The committee notes that whereas the ED, Ms. Allen Kajira, made several attempts during the implementation of the contract in 2022 to put the operator to order, for example, in her letter to the Commissioner General, URA, to carry out a forensic audit on 28 November 2022, having noted possible manipulation or worse still, system inefficiencies in regard to data protection and integrity. Similarly, in her letter dated 2nd December 2022, notifying Aegis of the UNRWA internal audit, having stated that she had received various reports that the system for the toll revenue collection had been rejected by the project manager as it did not meet the standards as per the contract provisions. Further, that there were incidences of data disappearance. Therefore, the committee observes that the ED failed to explore all avenues available to ensure the operator fulfills his contractual obligations, including termination, most especially when the operator failed to install the independent traffic monitoring system stated in clause 39.1, particular conditions of the contract. 2, avail software codes. He failed to avail software codes for us to audit him up to now, but they still left him to continue. And to install the weigh-in motion scales, which were all tools the government would have relied on to audit the toll revenue operations as seen in the forensic audit reports of UNRWA and URA, and as will be explained in the committee report. Recommendations?
You've done 1 hour now.
I've finished. Recommendations. Recommendations. The committee recommends that the Ministry of Works and Transport terminates the contract with immediate effect pursuant to clause 5922 C and D of the general conditions of the contract on the basis that the operator is in breach of the contract, having neglected or failed to perform his obligations precisely set out in the contract as herein above explained. 2, the committee recommends the Ministry of Works and Transport takes immediate charge of the operations and maintenance of the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway in a bid to save government of Uganda from huge expenditure on private contractual arrangements for the benefit of the taxpayer, specifically for the repayment of the loan. 3, the committee recommends that URA, because we can't trust Ministry of Works to also collect the money. Someone must audit the other. The committee recommends that URA takes over revenue collection of the toll fees and immediately put in place an electronic payment system for purposes of easy transactional audit.
Order.
All revenues.
Order from Minister of might want to guide national guidance.
During recommendations.
Okay. The reason I allowed the Honorable Odia is a vanguard, is a fight against corruption. So I'm sure what is raising now is going to form part of the debate when we have concluded the. So I will preserve my ruling until we end the debate. So the chair conclude. Honorable Chair, I am required to establish whether you have a minority report.
Thank you, Right Honorable. The report was signed by 24 members out of 30, and we don't have a minority report.
Honorable Nyakato, you have a minority report?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, the committee, for the very elaborate, on-spot and timely report. I also want to say this, that as a shadow minister, but also as opposition members of our Parliament on the committee, we're on the same page with the committee report. But I wanted to re-echo just a few things, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the $350 million that went on the express highway construction is being paid by you and me. Your children, my children, your great-children and your great-grandchildren, they will all pay this money. Right Honorable Speaker, the repayment scope was supposed to be 13 years to recover that $350 million US dollars. According to revenue projections, it shows that we may be able to clear in 16 years. But also, according to the findings of the committee, if we don't bridge the gaps of the financial losses being caused today, we may be in position to clear, to repay in 2051. Right Honorable Speaker, on that note, therefore, I want to re-echo these observations. One, cash collections. First of all, they are so tempting and risky to collectors and also causes government financial losses. Right Honorable Speaker, manual collections also are not reliable, but also when it comes to auditing, it becomes very complicated. Right Honorable Speaker and members, UNRA and Pinnacle did make a contract, and Pinnacle was supposed to install an independent traffic monitoring system to automatically detect how many cars have utilized the toll system on a daily basis, which they did not install. Right Honorable Speaker and members,
thank you.
The contractor,
since you're a member of the committee,
stated in the committee report that the contract of Pinnacle be terminated with immediate effect. Right Honorable Speaker, I also want to re-echo that with immediate effect, Ministry of Works with immediate effect takes over maintenance of the Entebbe Express Highway. Right Honorable Speaker, finally, I pray that this committee report be adopted without further debate. Right Honorable Speaker, I submit.
Yes, let us be calm. Me as Speaker, I was ready. My work is to listen. I don't debate. But if you want to have a good debate, like a fruitful match, both sides must be ready. Now I'm told one side is ready, the other side is not ready. Chairperson.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. When you adjourned this matter last week on Thursday, the Honorable Minister of Works was here present with me, and he had your communication. And it was uploaded then. And furthermore, the Deputy Attorney General was also here. Even today morning when I talked to my very good minister in the morning, he said he had read the report and it was a very good report.
Who is telling the truth? And I know you as a very honest man.
Right Honourable Speaker, as you have rightly said, I'm a very honest man, and I'm among a few who are fighting corruption. We are tired of corruption in this country. And I'm not against the report of the committee, but I'm requesting time honestly to look at it, understand it, internalize it. I come and speak from the informed point of view. I don't tell lies this house.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I do appreciate the submission of the chair of the committee, and he had just started his recommendations, and he highly recommended the ministry, the full ministry of the government of Uganda Works, to take over management of the toll road. And after recommending the whole ministry, and again makes a statement that we cannot trust the Ministry of Works. Right Honourable Speaker, is the chair of the committee in order to recommend and turns against and says he does not trust the entire Ministry of Government of Uganda?
The first recommendation was there are many activities in managing the express. Ministry of Works takes over maintenance, but URA takes over the collection. The reason as why we separated the two is to have checks and balances. 3, the committee recommends that URA takes over the revenue collection of the toll fees and immediately puts in place electronic payment systems for purposes of easy transactional audit. All revenue collections should be deposited in the control account as per the financing agreement. 4, the committee recommends that the Ministry of Works and Transport, during the process of the project takeover, gives priority to the current operators' staff who are qualified and competent during recruitment for the purposes of service continuity, and also to tap into the expertise and or experience. 5, the committee recommends that the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Works and Transport, then, who issued the illegal and lawful felonious notice of extension of contract to Pinnacle Security at the tune of 36 billion on 20th May 2026 for a period of 1 year without approval of the Attorney General, contrary to Article 1195 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995, be investigated with a view of prosecution by the IGG and the Director of Public Prosecutions for abuse of office pursuant to Section 10 of the Anti-Corruption Act, Cap 116. 6, the committee having found the immediate former and current Auditor Generals, respectively, to be largely in the neglect of their duty to conduct financial and value for money audits in respect for a vital project like the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway, that involves public funds as mandated under Article 163(3)(b) of the Constitution and Sections 13(1)(b) of the National Audit Act, now recommends the current Auditor General be suspended from performance of his office on account of him being incompetent, and a tribunal be appointed by the President carry out an investigation on the current Auditor General's competence pursuant to Article 163(10)(c), 13 and 15 of the Constitution. The former Auditor General be thoroughly investigated with view of having him prosecuted by the IGG or Director of the Public Prosecution. 7, the committee recommends a forensic audit be carried out on Aegis Stock Pinnacle Revenue Toll System from inception with a view of recovering all lost government revenue that would have been used to repay the road infrastructure loan by both URA and the Office of the Auditor General. 8, the committee recommends that through a thorough investigation be made by CID and under Uganda Police Force and the IGG on the entire personnel in charge of the operations and maintenance of the tolling system for the KEE, with a view of being prosecuted for the offense of unauthorized modification of computer material under Section 13 of the Computer Misuse Act, Cap 96 of the offense of causing financial loss under Section 19 of the Anti-Corruption Act, Cap 116. 9, the committee recommends the government recovers from Pinnacle Security Limited all funds that were from the illegal free passes as per the Roads Act, Cap 346, attributed to its staff through an audit process by the Office of the Auditor General. For example, the completed toll free passes at Busega Toll Plaza between January 2022 and June 2026 amounting to a total cost of 314,355,000. 10, the committee recommends that URA should undertake a forensic audit on Pinnacle Security Limited in order to establish the tax liability with a view of recovering any circumvented tax through under-declared income. 11, the committee recommends that all UNRWA technical staff in the user department and PDU that were directly involved in the process of procurement of Aegis Roads operations, whose functions were defining technical requirements, drafting procurement plans, participating in bid evaluation, and managing the contract, be individually investigated by the Office of the IGG with a view of prosecution for causing financial loss when they prioritize giving an operator a tune of 122 billion at the expense of the taxpayer when they anticipated only 146. 12, the committee recommends the Ministry of Works and Transport with immediate effect install digital audit mechanisms that were envisaged, such as in the operation and maintenance agreement, which were never installed, the independent traffic monitoring system and the high-speed way in motion scales to facilitate future audit by all relevant agencies. 13, recommends that the UNRWA accounting officer and members of the UNRWA board of 2017 to 2023 who did not effectively provide their oversight role, strategic guidance to UNRWA when they failed to provide strategic leadership on the opinion of the authority to operate and maintain the KEE rather than opting for an operator at a cost of 122 billion, therefore causing financial loss to government at the expense of the loan repayment. Furthermore, the members of the UNRWA board of 2023 to the UNRWA's rationalization, there are different sets, who failed to offer strategic guidance to terminate the operation and maintenance contract with Aegis, that failed to install the bare minimum requirement of the independent traffic monitoring system and the way in motion scale that would have facilitated government to carry out an effective audit as per the operation and maintenance contract, therefore causing financial loss to the government of Uganda, be investigated with a view of having them prosecuted by the IGG for causing financial loss contrary to Section 19 of the Anti-Corruption Act, Cap 116. And lastly, the committee has since established the extension of the contract did not meet the statutory requirement of the Attorney General's legal approval and recommends that the lack of Attorney General's legal advice, therefore, the extension of the Pinnacle contract on May 20th, 2026, as required under Article 1195 of the Constitution was illegally and was an illegality and cannot be cured. Therefore, there is no subsisting contract with Pinnacle Security Limited. In case you are fearing financial implications, court, there is no contract. In conclusion, honorable members, it is there. But in conclusion, I wish to thank the Right Honorable Speaker, the honorable members of the committee, the staff, office of the clerk that supported us during this investigation. I beg to submit.
Concluding. Please, 1 minute to conclude, and I want to invite the Minister of Works.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Thereafter,
Minister of Works, we shall get to the Minister of Works. The other one was the shadow. Let's now hear from the real Minister of Works.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank the committee through our good chairperson for the good comprehensive report, of which also he participated as a ministry because we were invited and attended with the technical people of the ministry, including the former staff of UNRWA. And the Honorable Speaker, I do agree and accept the move the chairperson of the committee is taking, which is right, and I appreciate him. And all of us in this country, we want to work to move and want to ensure value for money. And where there is corruption proved, we need to get a way to stop such a things. But this is a very big report, which I've got today. I request time to internalize it. Then I can also come and speak comprehensively from the informed point of view. Thank you very much.
You said you need time?
Yes, I need time to read through this comprehensive report because it is a very important report. So that I come back and report from the informed point of view. Thank you.
Thank you. Please. I can just imagine how you're feeling. And it's okay to feel that way. The Attorney General, before we proceed, there are recommendations you listened here. There are about 14. And your office is being mentioned severally. Do you have something to say about? On fully. Attorney General, I think, you want to say something? Okay.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I just want, Honourable Speaker, to endorse your last statement. It's the whole report, and we want to look at it wholesomely as a government. We study that report and come back with a comprehensive reply.
Opportunity. Mr. Speaker, some of us have just received, actually all of us here, have just received this report. And it is so clear. It is so clear that we have just been following the chairperson, reading almost everything. If you're a good listener and you're able to follow up, you're able to understand some clear things and you note them up. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to put the minister on order. Is it in order to request for time and you're not able to be specific enough to let us know about what time do you need for you to be able to read and understand the report so that you have a way forward on your side? That is my order.
Honourable members.
After seeing the Minister of Works responding to this thuggery in this report, it made me to get disappointed. Because I have been seeing Honorable Balam arresting people immediately. But according to this report, Honorable Speaker, we don't even want to waste time. The road must be closed. Two, the people eating our money, they're supposed to be arrested immediately. Immediately. How can, Right Honorable Speaker, they have been telling us and telling Ugandans that Kampala Express Highway is the most expensive road in this world. But look at the thuggery in the report. And to the chairperson, We know. They always say that when you fight corruption, sometimes corruption will fight back. Don't get worried. We are going to stand with you. No one is going to scare you when we are here as members of parliament. We are here to represent our people and to see that our money, to see value for our money, our taxpayers' money. Therefore, Honorable Minister of Works
But did you
and other entities.
Honorable Member,
Yes.
Are you really serious when you say you recommend we close the road?
That's how our money is being eaten, Honorable Speaker. They are eating our money using the propaganda that they are doing the best in that road.
Honorable Zake.
Right Honorable Speaker, the Ministry of Works and Transport. Right Honorable Speaker, and the House will agree that this is one of the ministries that has a lot of rot in it. Just a few weeks back, Right Honorable Speaker, you gave us an opportunity as a Committee on Government Assurance to move across the country. And the task you gave us was touching still the same ministry. Right Honorable Speaker, this ministry, as it has a fresh minister, it needs thorough cleaning up. According to what we are seeing in this report, I want to thank so much the chair. Honorable Speaker, I think you can see how young people were performing. When you see the Right Honorable Leader of Opposition and the Honorable Mwine Mpaka, how bright they are. Indeed, that's why your father is called bright. And this is totally unacceptable, Right Honorable Speaker, whereby we have such a project with such a loan that we got on behalf of all Ugandans, the taxpayers, and these people are still really moving around like that. And if I were the minister, these people immediately by this evening, they'll be in the coolers, sincerely. Right Honorable Speaker, I use that express highway whenever I'm going.
Speaker, I want to take this opportunity and appreciate the chairperson of the committee and the committee members for such a shocking but good news to Ugandans report. It is extremely shocking that there hasn't been any audit made for all these years. That is a big shocker for us. And I think that it's one of your recommendations that I strongly support. And I think after doing a forensic audit, this is when we should take these decisions of, for example, terminating the contract, letting the Ministry of Works take over, because then we would have an ultimate end truth to this matter. Thank you so much, Right Honorable.
Thank you. Honorable Bukenya.
This is the money that would have helped us to venture in other avenues for the development of this country. I commend the chairperson and the committee for the comprehensive report that it has given to us. We really need to see resources being managed well so that we can develop this country, because we can see broad daylight robbery. This is robbery of the highest order. So therefore, I, as a member of parliament for Hoima, I hereby support the committee.
For some time, for a week, that was not uploaded. The danger of what is the shortcut to deal with this report? Isn't it to debate it and we dispose it off? Can I get Honorable Batwa? let's not postpone this thing.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Matter that should not be delayed. It should be handled expressively.
2 minutes.
Right Honorable Speaker, right from the time we enacted the Public Finance Management Act, accountability shifted from being institutional to being personal. The person, the accounting officer at the time, should be reprimanded and should bear full blame in capital words. Secondly, we have seen that this company has not been remitting tax. And we have seen clearly that even the person taking this money, the collections to the bank, has been stealing to a tune of $1 billion in just a space of a month. We should, in our recommendation, add a recommendation requiring Uganda Revenue Authority to go and re-audit and claim our full tax. I've seen Ugandans having their properties getting sold simply because they have a tax to pay with URA. So we can't sleep on this kind of duty. I thank the committee and I associate with all the recommendations.
Honorable, try to get up. I've seen you. I'm going to pick. Yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to take this opportunity to thank the chairman for this very good report. Right Honorable Speaker, it is when you read Article 79, it's our duty to do oversight. And the Constitution under Article 164 creates a duty on everybody to account. Right Honorable Speaker, we are dealing with criminality. That actually monies have been collected and a different amount of money is banked. We normally have loans in this house. We create a burden on taxpayers, on Ugandans, yet money is being siphoned out of the system as the taxpayer keep on suffering. Honorable Speaker, I want to applaud the committee for this good work done. But also, Honorable Speaker, one of the vices we have to deal with actually is maladministration. Because there are people who are supposed to detect the loss of money. And actually they kept quiet about the same. And maladministration is the biggest form, actually, than even corruption itself. Because, for instance, you are the gatekeeper. You keep quiet as money is being siphoned out of the system. I want to invite colleagues that we are dealing with a bipartisan matter. This matter is not just about you and about your feelings, but it's about the country. I invite colleagues that the public out there looks at us as actually the people who are responsible of following up on their past. We got a loan, Honorable Speaker. A road was built. The money which would be helping to service the loan is being put in the hands of the individuals. So I call upon everybody to rise up to the occasion. It's only now that either rise up to the occasion and speak against corruption, because you cannot fight corruption by actually keeping quiet about it. This is the only opportunity we have, colleagues, members of parliament, on both sides of the house, that we support the committee report, we support the recommendations passed. If the minister, in his view, he thinks he needs to study the report, you're going to study the report when you're making treasury memorandum on action taken on this report. I thank you.
Speaker and members and other committee chair. No wonder we are the same size, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker.
To impute that you share the same brain also.
Right Honorable Speaker, Entebbe Express Highway is one of those roads which are mandated to citizens of this country to relinquish money to this government. When members of the public give in money to the government, that money requires strict accountability. Now that we have this saying of Chisanja, no sleep, all what I see in the report is that government deliberately decided to run away from its responsibility. Second of all, Right Honorable Speaker, why is it that we are discovering this in 2026? Why is it that after a period of 4 years, we come out and say, there has been siphoning of money for the last 4-6 years? Thirdly, why is it that we always have almost the same names? If it is not Pinnacle, it is Pinetti, it is Patrick, or something of that kind. There needs to be an investigation done. That we don't run here at Parliament trying to say, oh, all of this has been happening over the last 5-6 years, when we are silent on job. Lastly, Right Honorable Speaker, we want government to wake up to the realities of what is happening in this country. In serious countries, this report can only be considered to be stratospheric hallucinations. This can't be believable in serious countries. That a road can exist for over 4-6 years.
Honorable Nsamba.
Speaker, I stand to associate myself to the committee report and categorically say that I support the committee recommendation 100% for immediately terminating the contract, the existing contract. And if the minister wants to get back to this parliament, he should get back to us to tell us that, you know, since a parliamentary recommendation was taken, this is the action we took. Right Honorable Speaker, I was reached out as chairperson Public Accounts Committee, telling me that, you know, what fiscal infrastructure is doing is accountability matters. But Right Honorable Speaker, when you give chance to our Auditor General, and they will be there, they present something, a little shallow. Thank you so much for the work done. And I would like to implore our Auditor General
to add in the report, these people are not paid at all. They have told me so many months they have moved when they have not been paid at all. And this is serious. Money has been taken. Even the people who are working on those stores, they are complaining about their salaries. So this is something also we must talk about and then also add on the recommendation. Honorable Chair, I support you fully 100%. How I wish we can put in action all these recommendations. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
I want that the debate is structured. And we have about 14 recommendations. You see, if we don't structure them, that's why we shall end up resolving to close the road. The first, remind yourself of the first recommendation. I want to, like, if the first recommendation is that terminate the contract, and the last 14, number 14 says there is no subsisting contract. I want that kind of debate, whether you can terminate what does not what is not existing. I also want to hear, you know, the legal issues in those for or against. So there are also recommendations for forensic audit. What follows? What kind of decisions do you take before audit is done as you process the debate? Honorable Naruyima? No. The road is in Wakiso? Okay, 2 minutes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the people of Wakiso District, allow me to appreciate the committee for these recommendations, and we entirely agree with them, though on item 10, recommendation 10, we are saying that the mandate to have financial and for value for money audits is entirely upon the Office of the Auditor General. Much as we are having gaps, but you also find that's under our Constitution, Article 163. It's the mandate of the Auditor General. We are not talking about the person, but we are talking about the office. So giving, again, URA another role to audit, to have a forensic audit, we are seeing conflict of interest. Yet it's now again URA, which we have recommended earlier, to be the one to take over the management of finances. So I'm seeing some conflict there and then. I pray that we take it to the right office as far as our constitution is concerned. And finally, on behalf of the people of Wakiso District, we request that more lights be provided to strengthen security on the Entebbe Express Highway. I thank you.
On this matter, Right Honorable, I am speaking with a heavy heart because this report is before us and the public is looking forward to seeing our recommendations and actions being taken. Because in a few days to come, COSASA will bring another report on Rairi, on Luowa Hospital, and so many others. Therefore, I want to implore members to stand firm. We adopt all the recommendations because they are good recommendations. As of now, we cannot escape our duty of doing oversight. Therefore, I support the recommendations, and I want to ask all colleagues to support, to follow suit, so that there is accountability in accordance to Article 164 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda to hold all officers accountable for the money that government has lost. I submit.
Thank you. How we can process the recommendations against the Auditor General? I've never had. Are we going to be the first to process such kind of, and his Office of Parliament? And one person said, why now? 2017 to 2023, where was Parliament? Emmanuel, Honorable.
Thank you so much.
As we debate, we should have such, help me generate those kind of, yeah.
Thank you, Rat. Before that, I want to thank the chair and the committee for a good work done. When I joined Parliament in 2016, in public accounts for local government, our chair was Honorable Regan Okumu, and he would tell us there would be issues that we want to push very far with the Auditor General, and he would tell us, Auditor General is actually one of our staff. If there is an issue, we can talk about it later. And it made me to respect that office and always want to deal with issues with them when we are like indoors. But now when a report comes out like that, it's like they feared to go and touch. I am wondering what could have happened. And you are right to say, how are we going to deal with that situation of the Auditor General? But it has also brought something in my mind. Who are the owners of Pinnacle and the other entity? Because there is a possibility that Auditor General, also knowing who are behind that entity, could have been fearing to go head on and go deeper into what is happening. So, but overall, Right Honorable Speaker, I support the recommendations, and I want to think that we can carry them wholly and implement them. Thank you.
Honorable Cyrus.
Well, I want to appreciate you. One time I listened to you and you said, come to committees, bear your own word, cross. If you know you have any issue to answer, answer. Be answerable to the word committees. So it starts with you. You are the one who has given us the courage. Two, I'd love to thank Honorable Mwine Mpaka, a person whom in my honest heart I thought should have become a commissioner. But now I see if you had gone to the commission, you would have missed this good report. I'm so happy that you give us that pride. Now you are trying to salvage the image of Parliament. And everybody can see that we are working because of what you have done. Together with your colleagues. It takes courage for you to bring a report of this magnitude to the floor of Parliament. If you are weak, you will get money here and there and you just say, we forgot something. Yeah, so we really appreciate. It's not something simple. When we are coming to Parliament, we swear and we say, I will be there to defend and protect the Constitution. But once you are shown something small like this, you say, I forgot about the Constitution. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, it is time for us to shine. let's do the job that God has sent us to do. And when you look at recommendation 1 and the last one, actually you are right to say, now, is there a contract that is existing? Now, if there is no contract, why should the toll gate be operating? People should now move freely for 3 months as we allow Minister of Works to fix a system properly that operates. Otherwise, if you tell them to go there in the morning, what are they going to use? They also don't have any good machine for now. Right, Honorable Speaker, that is the truth. Let the thing be opened, let people operate, let Minister of Works come to order and prepare what they are going to do. I want to thank you.
Honorable Gilbert Olanya.
Will be an advice to the Minister of Works that next time before we carry out such projects, let's carry out a thorough study in the region and we determine how our colleagues do certain things. There are friends in the region who carried out such a project and it was purely carried out by a private investor who is going to do works and collect money for themselves for 20 years. This will go a long way to save the taxpayers. It will reduce the burden on our grandchildren in terms of paying back. This person will come and invest his money, he collects, and later, after 20 years, he hands us back the road. That will go a long way to help the burden on loans and whatever. Thanks very much, Mr. Honorable Speaker.
Right Honorable Speaker, I just want to say this morning, we were for a committee of national, in terms of cash. In some countries, even when you are buying maize, you don't move with cash. You just buy through digital. And this digital will help also to reduce the losses. And we need to our people. I want to say this is one of the best reports for this year so far. So thank you very much.
Me to thank the chair of the committee for the very good report and the members. Right, Honorable Speaker, I've been observing issues lately, and I want to request the state, the executive, to be consistent. The way things are running in Chisanja, no sleep. You hear a story, you suspend, you arrest, institute another new team, and investigations take place. So this is what I want to propose. That based on what Honorable Mpaka is saying, and the team, and the time they have taken to come up with this report, this is a tip of the iceberg. So I request, like how we have been handling other things, we suspend operations of Pinnacle, Aegis, and others, and we institute a team now to start running the operations. And then the investigations take place, like Balam has been doing, like they have done with URSB, and things move on when these people are on the side, and we be consistent. We be consistent as investigations take place, and then Ugandans will be happy. And after we get the report and we find people culpable, since this is Chisanja no sleep, we put faces on billboards on this expressway, such that every Ugandan knows and starts fearing corruption. We just put them up on top of the other sanctions they may get. We put faces there on billboards, and everyone who passes there knows that this is where the problem was. After the investigations, but immediate suspension, and another team takes over. And finally, I wanted to build on what Honorable I.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. First, I would like to thank the chairman and the committee for a job very well done. In my opinion, I would have thought the very good performance of the Entebbe Expressway would have given us a template and a blueprint for future infrastructure developments. But seeing the ills in that project, ranging from connivance by the relevant people, government entities, transfer pricing between Aegis and Pinnacle, cash collections that are not declared, so many flaws, it really gives us a very bad impression of this project. I would like, therefore, to urge that the committee recommendations be upheld, but also one of the issues that you raised regarding how we treat the Auditor General. Given that he's an office under this August House, I think we need to have a very thorough discussion on how we manage performance, responsibility, and discipline where there is defiance or error. I therefore want to suggest, and I want to urge my brother, the Minister of Works, he should take this report in good faith, because if the performance improves, then he will have more money to do future projects using road toll. I therefore submit. Thank you very much.
Will of the people. I want to address the issue of cost for this Entebbe Expressway. It is being said that the expressway cost, I think, $476 million. That is not real. What it says is that when you borrow money for a capital project, you Honorable Speaker. So I was saying, by doing that, for example, if we were to get 10 million per year, it will need only 35 years for us to get back, to pay back the loan, because the loan is 350 million. And it's for 40 years. So you'll see that the repayment period for the loan will be matching with the collections. To be 35 years against 40 years. But for now, the repayment is, the payback period is 400 years, and yet we're supposed to pay back in 40 years. And also in 40 years, the useful life of the road will be done. The road will not exist beyond 50 years. So there will be no residual value to collect. So I submit that we go private. Thank you.
Thank you.
Honorable, I want first cite Rule 100. 1. A member shall not take part in a discussion of any matter before the House or committee in which the member has direct pecuniary interest, unless the member has declared the nature of the interest to the House. I want to first declare my interest in this matter, that Pinnacle Security is a personal friend. I went to school with him. And even when Aegis was taking on the contract, I supported them in forming their quotation to Minister of Works. But right Honourable Speaker, now that I've put my interest to you, I would like to ask this House. First, I support and I appreciate the work of my colleagues, but there's a lot that was left out. And that's why I ask genuinely, because I spoke to the chairperson, I read the report, I had from Pinnacle Security, I really play that this House allows, we have a forensic audit of the last 5 years until today. Then we can determine effectively who is benefiting and who is paying the cost. Because when you look at the cost, right Honourable Chair, the committee does not bring out to you that part of the 122 billion, 18 of that money is tax. 122 billion, 55 billion is what actually goes to the operation and maintenance, which is actually going to the contractors. And it's only not one contractor, there are 8 subcontractors that shared the 55 billion over 5 years. Meaning that the cost of actually running the road is not entirely 122 billion as they have brought it out. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, why I want us to do a forensic test is on
him.
Yeah.
And then...
not only that, but I was his campaign manager. When he dismissed me. When he went through, he dismissed me. But on a serious note, I wish first of all to thank the committee. I want to thank the minister special way. I think, Honourable Minister, you did us good when you really accept the report, and you also thanked us for that report. It is our report, colleagues. It is our report, and my only prayer will be very brief. One, we now realize that we are grappling with the issue of roads in this country. It is now true that Uganda has enough money. It is true that you can use that money to build our infrastructure. And this business of coming to borrow, we are borrowing simply because we have in-house problems. And those who are borrowing are the ones who are mismanaging the money.
The report will exonerate us as Parliament because it has highlighted how the corrupt have tried to capture the state. And it is high time that for us, we throw the guillotine, but politically, We know corruption is fought politically, administratively, and legally. Now, our role as Parliament, we've been given a report. We trust our members on that committee. Therefore, we adapt his reports, the recommendations 100%, and also urge the executive that some of those people mentioned in the report are basically appointed. So let the executive take administrative measures by disappointing those guys from their positions because they have been swindling a lot based on the report. Then the legal matters will be followed later, but not by us. Lastly, Right Honorable Speaker,